Hello and welcome back. So last time we made our ship move around in the scene, but I don't like the fact that he can go off the screen, and I don't like the way the camera is set up. So what I'm going to do quickly is go to the main camera and change the projection from perspective to orthographic, and I'll just increase the size to maybe 9. And now if I run the game, you can see that the orthographic camera is much different than the perspective. And now we're going to be fixing the boundary so that he can't leave the scene. Okay, let's just increase the camera a little bit, the size of the camera. Okay, this is fine for now. Later we will be polishing the movement of the ship so it looks and feels much better, but for now I'm fine with how it is. So basically, currently our ship can leave the camera, the, let's say, map, whatever, boundaries, and also the enemies, they would also be able to leave the ship. So what I'm thinking is we should create a new class that's going to disable these ships and then the enemy ships and the player to leave the boundaries. So let's go ahead and create a new C# script called map limits. And let's open it up. Let's reload all. And this script, this class won't be a mono behavior. I'm just going to delete this. So it's going to be a normal class, which we'll be just referencing in our player character scripts and in our enemy AI scripts. But for now, what I want this class to have is, let's say, public int minimum x, public int maximum x, public int minimum y, and public int maximum y. Okay, we don't need any of these methods. We just need these variables here from the class. We want to use them in our player script and in any other script that we want. So let's close this. And now in our player script we can say public map limits. You can see we can create a variable of type map limits, and let's call this limits and save that. And now if we go back to our player, we don't actually have any way to set up these limits. Even if I try to add the map limit script to the inspector tab, it will just say that I can't because it's not a mono behavior. Now to do that, we need to be able to change these values from our script in the inspector tab. We need to go back to our map limits class and say, oops, system.serializable, so that Unity knows that this class is serializable, so that we want to change these values in the inspector. So let's go ahead and save this now. Now back in our player character, you can see now we have these limits here, and I can click on this drop down and we have the minimum x, the maximum x, the minimum y, and the maximum y. Now we can call this script in any other class and we will instantly get these limits, which is really convenient. So let's go ahead and move our character to the left, and let's see. So this is position -18 on the x. So let's get out of play mode and say in minimum x -18. Okay, let's see the maximum x. The maximum x is 18. Let's check the minimum y. So the minimum y is -10. And let's now check the maximum y. The maximum y is 10. Let's set it to 10. Okay. Now let's go ahead in our script. Now we actually have to put in some code that will limit this movement. So let's go to our player character script, and in the update method we can just say transform.position equals new vector 3, and in here we will make sure to, so each frame we will check its position and we will make sure that the position is inside of these limits. so he'll never be able to go outside of these limits. So for the x here, I will say math.mathf. This is just the library of a ton of math functions, and I want to use the clamp function. So let's open up the brackets, and this method here takes in a value, and then it takes a minimum and maximum value. So first it wants our position, our current position on the x-axis, and then it needs to compare this position with something. So let's say we want to compare it with the minimum x of limits and the maximum x of limits. So let's say limits dot minimum x, and then limits dot maximum x. So I'm just going to go to the next line because this line of code will be really long. So I just skip to the next line, and let's in here. So this is the y. So let's go ahead and say math.mathf.clamp transform.position.y, and we want limits dot minimum y and limits dot maximum y. Okay, and then for the z-axis we'll just say 0 0. Okay, let's go ahead and save this. Let's go back into Unity and let's now run our game, and you can see I can't move out of the bounds. The ship just stops moving. And the way this is set up, what's really convenient is we can, even if we increase the camera size, we can always increase these values, and we can always add them to different ships, to enemy ships, bosses, and it will just work perfectly fine. So that's been it for this lecture. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.